this could be any other time or any other place at the exact, as well as it is also specifically in this one, and to pull that off is actually kind of, a difficult thing to do, because it would be so easy if you wanted to milk the Nazi figures and guards and, iconography for horror. You absolutely could. You could do this crazy expressionist shot of the actual fucking swastikas, or show the executions and show the guards being incredibly evil. Yep. But there is something to be said about the fact that,
the death machine has just become so mundane and routine. There's nothing. Like, you don't even see that kind of fear.
Yeah, exactly. So to an extent, he's kind of abstracting this history while also still being very kind of clear and direct about it in the same way. It's quite unlike, I think, how anyone else would approach the same material, and it does have a very, very unique effect that has obviously inspired a lot of people. Like, it definitely inspired Letterboxd, whereas we're going to talk about next, it inspired Escape from Alcatraz, and probably anyone who was making a very subjectively rendered, pulling off a mission kind of movie, almost. But yeah, to do that and to avoid all the typical thrills that someone would, while not making a boring movie. Because like, that's also, maybe by talking about it in that way, I think some people might be like, oh, A Man Escaped is the arty, pretentious version of a thriller, Yeah. But like, I actually still find the actual sequences of him doing the stuff that he does, like, still pretty tense.
Oh,
it's
totally.
just part of that is built into the, the rigorous formal approach that he has chosen, where it's very authentic and it's very austere and it's very process based. And
be given
in
the
some ways it actually makes it.
It has to be patient. It just has to be. I think we were talking about it with Letterboxd as well. It's just, given their circumstance, they have to be meticulous and patient, and if they're not, then they're just going to expose themselves. So they have the. What I like about this, though, is that he almost does it. They fade in and out of both things that they're focused on, which is like, one, his kind of social aspect of the people he is meeting in the prison. And certain skills that he's also learning from them, or how it works, like how he can get letters and all of that. And then there's the stuff where he's making
like when he's meeting Terry and all of that, like all of the whole idea of like, he's trapped in the room and he starts like looking his way kind of like around it, and the camera will follow him up to like the window where the light shines in, and then he looks out that window, and then all of a sudden, bam, there's a bunch of guys who are like, hey, we'll deliver letters from you because we're allowed unsupervised like exercising, and we can kind of do this thing. Yeah. And I think at one point they form that little pouch on a rope, and he's like, can you get me a safety pin? Because I was taught this trick by my neighboring prisoner. I think how much of this is communicating with other inmates who are all interested in helping each other is also like a very key aspect to it.
And they teach each other like what they've learned along the way and stuff like that. Which and of
course they write
tools.
Instructions for each other too, because Paul Schrader absolutely has stolen all of the writing notes and writing diaries and all that kind of shit. Like they're whether it's on the walls or whether it's on a piece of paper that he actually put in each other's pockets and stuff, they're always leaving notes and kind of instructions. And it's also a suggestion that it's kind of like proof that you existed after maybe your body dies is through this history, which obviously this guy did, right, by writing it down and kind of press on turning it into a movie and all of that way. And it kind of like seamlessly goes from that back into him just making the tools. But it's great because it's directly connected to that. Because like we said, they're kind of learning from each other and teaching each other things that they've learned along the way. So it progresses his escape. And they go back and forth from that, like, and I love the little steps, because you'll see him grab something and he won't have it finished yet, and you won't see him really finish like a complete tool, like one of the ropes with the hooks, until a good 45 minutes in. But he started making that at the very beginning. So it's very cool to see that progress being made, and then I think the real excitement comes from like just seeing that progress and then ultimately seeing it being used eventually, which we'll get to. But that is honestly very exciting when it comes, because with this slow build, as tense as it still is, it's awesome to finally see it be utilized, Definitely. Well, and to have all of the like slow building context to what would motivate such a thing, right?
Totally,
too. So like it's like that's why he's so patient with it, because part of it is like he wants you to see him unconscious and bloody and hysterical in his room, and the guards trying to belittle him and being like, have you come to terms with your defeat? Like, have we stomped out the last of your human individualism yet, sir?
Especially
and he's saying yes, although the voiceover is like, who am I kidding? He didn't believe me, and of course I'm gonna like jump at the first chance to fucking escape again. Like all of the constant voiceover and the constant like fading in and out, like making this kind of feel longer and making it feel like the actual prison sentence he's experiencing. There's a lot done here to really slow this down and really emphasize the experience that he's having, like when he's given that bowl of soup and he's just like, he sees that the peephole gets left open and he's like, man, like, yeah, this guard totally wants to see me at like my weakest moment, like eating scraps like a dog, that kind of stuff. And he slowly makes his way through the prison as, with good behavior, he's moved out of the recently tried to escape from car like downstairs prison, where he also finds out later that his neighbor who taught him how to do the safety pin trick was actually murdered in one of those gunshot executions. I think even maybe the one where it holds the shot and all the women are just walking away from it like calmly, which is again the sonic and visual distortion there of just being like, yeah, this is very normal and